Hey everybody, it's Miss A, Math in Minutes. I'm doing a unit recap for our assessment that we're having tomorrow. I wanted to go over some question types and what the student should be able to understand. All right, so looking at the assessment, students should be able to look at, to correctly choose models. So correctly choose models that represent equivalent fractions. So, for example, they may give the model that looks like this, and the students would have answer options, and they would have to choose the answer options that are also equal to that. For example, they may have something that looks like this. So the students can look at these answer options and they need to be able to find this is their option, and they need to choose a model that's equivalent, the same amount of shaded space. This represents 1/4. This is 1/2. This is not equivalent when it comes to shaded area. This A and B are equivalent to each other, but they are not equivalent to the model. This one represents a fraction greater than 1. I will say on this test, if you have any answers that are fractions greater than 1, which means the numerator is greater than the numerator, numerator greater than the denominator, we are not working with that. We are not working with that right now, so that cannot possibly be an answer. And then we have this, which equals 4/8, and I can see this and this have the same amount of shaded space, so D would be the answer. They must be able to compare fractions using one of the strategies. I just showed you all of the strategies on the last video, but I will show them again. Here we are comparing 1/2 and 3/8. We have to be able to use it doing the symbols. The children will need to be able to write the symbols. Here I've done the area model where I've made 1/2 and I've made 3/8. I've drawn them out, I've compared them. This shows me that 1/2 has more shaded space, so it's greater than. Here we've done common denominators, where I've taken my larger denominator and that I wrote it here. It's always next to the equal sign. The smaller denominator is always blank times that number, or that number times blank, and you figure out what you're multiplying it by. I then apply that to the fraction 1/2 times 4/4. That's where I got the 4 equals 4/8. Then I look at 4/8 and 3/8, which was my original fraction. Compare the numerators to decide which one's bigger. Whichever one's bigger, the open part faces. And I also have the number line, which I showed the students how to do and you how to do in this video. So they need to be able to do that. They will have to be able to come up with common denominators. Common denominators. So if I have 5, 6, and 3/4, I have to be able to come up with a common denominator for these problems. I could do this. I could think of 6 and 4. So just worry about the denominators right now. What do I multiply times 6 and 4? Actually, let me make that 2/3 to make it a little bit easier right now. So I would say to myself, 6 is equal to blank times 3. There's my 6. There's my 3. What do I multiply times 3 to make 6? Well, that's 2. I would then multiply that fraction times 2. 2/3 times 2 over 2 equals 4/6. And now I have 4/6 and 5/6. They are just coming up with common denominators. They may ask them, what is a common denominator? They don't need to write the fraction. They need to provide the denominator. So, for example, with this 6 and 4, I might have to look at multiples and find the one that works. 6, 12, 18, 4, 8, 12. Well, 12 and 12 are common denominators, so my common denominator for 6 and 4 could be the number 12. It could also be the number 24. It could also be the number 36. But if they're asking you for a common denominator, you may need to just provide that. They will need to be able, let me get here, they will be able, need to be able to identify an equivalent fraction. So, for example, they may have a model that looks like this. This represents 2/4. They might need to come up and identifying a common fraction could be something as, or not a common, an equivalent fraction could be something as easy as drawing a line down the middle. Let me draw these so we can see them all. And now I've taken my 2/4 model and I've turned it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is my denominator, and 1, 2, 3, 4 is my numerator. These are equivalent fractions. We also learned multiplication properties. So I take 2/4 times, let's say 3 over 3. Whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom, the exact same number. 2 times 3, 6. 4 times 3, 12. These are equivalent fractions. So they will need to be able to do that. They will be given a problem that will look like this. So they give you a fraction, let's say it's 8/10, and they want you to come up with a new fraction, and they give you the denominator. The denominator is 30th. What did I multiply times this to make 30? So what times 10 equals 30? Well, that's 3, and I do the same to the top as I do to the bottom. 10 times 3 is 30. 8 times 3 is 24. So this would be the answer. They will give them a problem. Matter of fact, that is problem number 8 on the test. You are given a problem where you're given a fraction. They tell you what the denominator has to be. You need to figure out what you're multiplying it by to answer that. They will have a multi-select. Multi-select means that they will choose more than one answer. Multi-select fractions that are, let's say, less than 3/4. So they're not going to be given any models. They're going to have to draw that out or figure it out for themselves. So 3/4, I'm going to draw that out because I want to see what that looks like. And they'll have to go through each answer option and either draw it out or figure out whether it's less. So for example, if we have 1/2, well, 1/2 is less than 3/4, so that would be correct. Five eighths is less than 1/2. So that would be a correct answer. So they have a multi-select such as that. So that is actually all of the review, the different types of questions that they will be learning. Or that they will be tested on. Correctly choose models to represent equivalent fractions. This should be really easy for the children. They're able to see it. Comparing fractions. That's all this information that we had here. Common denominators, which is a big part where you could either do create a common denominator by doing multiplication, cross multiplication, or looking for a common multiple to help you do that. identifying equivalent fractions using multiplication or models, identifying what you're multiplying a fraction by if given a common denominator or given a denominator, and also doing multi-select problems. So let me go over the homework review. So this is your homework practice. This can be turned in for extra credit. Homework practice. Let me get in here. Let me grab a book real quick. All right. So here is some homework practice. Number 7. Number 7 says, write each pair of fractions as a pair of fractions with a common denominator. So we have 3/4 and 7/8. The students would need to come up with a common denominator. And it says, write each pair of fractions. So you are giving me 2 fractions with a common denominator. Number 10, compare with less than, greater than, or equal to 5/8 and 5/12. Number 3, the next one, write the fractions in order from least to greatest. 2/3, 3/4, and 1/6. So let me write this down on the paper. So for us, it would be number 1, and it is write fractions with common denominators. And the students actually do have access to these pages if you don't want to write them out. Through their Think Central, if they go through their student connections, they are able to find the pages and see them on Think Central. And you go through student connections, and you can get through that through the school website. If you go to Hillsborough County Public Schools, if you go there, in the right-hand corner, it'll have a box for students, and it'll say Student Connections. If you go to Think Central through there, it's page 261. And it's the one we're doing is number 7, question number 7, which has you writing 3/4 and 7/8 as equivalent common denominator fractions. The next one I want the students to do is compare with symbols, and it is 5/8 and 5/12. So using those strategies to compare that I showed, and that is question number 10. The third one I want them to work on is ordering fractions from least to greatest, and making sure we pay attention that direction, least to greatest. 2/3, 3/4, and 1/6, and that's question number 14. And then let me put these up here because I'm not going to write these out. This is on page 262. So it says, Paco needs at least 3/8 yard of twine to build a model ship. How much twine could he buy? And here are your answer options. So they would need to figure it out, look for common denominators, try to solve it with models, however they want to figure out how much twine could he buy. So 3 of these options, because this is not multi-select, 3 of these options would be smaller than 3/8. The other option would be larger or equal to 3/8, and they'd have to choose 3/10, 1/4, 3/5, or 1/8. Rachel, Nancy, and Diego were in a fishing competition. Rachel's fish was 7/8 foot long. Nancy's fish was 1/4 foot long, and Diego's fish was 1/2 foot long. What are the lengths in the fish ordered from least to greatest? They would need to do this one, number 17. So 16 and 17, and your answer options are here. Number 18, Amy needs 6/8 gallon of fruit juice to make punch. She needs an equal amount of sparkling water. How much sparkling water does she need? Here you'd be looking through these answer options and choosing which one is equivalent because it says an equal amount. So we're looking for equivalent fractions here. So this is comparing fractions. This is ordering fractions. This is equivalent fractions. Gavin is building a model of the kitchen. In the model, 2/8 of the floor tiles are white, 1/2 of the floor tiles are yellow, and 1/10 of the floor tiles are brown. How much of the floor tiles could be in the model? How many floor tiles could be in the model? So you're having all of these, and you have to figure out how many floor tiles are in the model. And then the last one here, the performance task. These tables show the distance of some places in town from the school. So the library is 3/5 away from the school. The post office is 1/2 mile away from the school. The park is 3/4 mile away from the school. The town hall is 8/10. Are any of the places shown in the model closer than 1/2 mile to the school? Explain how you know. So their explanation would be showing their work. B, are any of the places shown in the table the same distance from the school? Explain how you know. Again, showing their work would answer this. So they don't have to explain. They have to tell me which one it is, and then they have to show their work to prove it. Which place is furthest from the school? So they would then compare all of these here, showing their model. That's the explain. Again, this is page 264, page 262, and page 261 if you want to go through Think Central. Again, that's Student Connections on the Hillsborough County Public School website. Under Students, they have Student Connections. You log in there. It is the students' login they created, and it is under Think Central. The pages are there. The books have been loaded. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, we have our test tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody.